convicted of racketeering and sex crimes in 2 separate federal trials in 2021 and 2022, but his legal trouble started many years before that. Way back in 2001, there was a sex tape that was leaked, and on that tape showed a 14-year-old girl. That girl's name was Roshona Landfair. She was also known as Jane Doe during one of R. Kelly's trials. She's now 41 years old, and Landfair spoke with Jerika Duncan in her first television interview about her new book, which is called Who's Watching Shorty, and what made her first want to speak out. Jerika is here now to talk about this. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. You know, she says that becoming a mother and, of course, the Surviving R. Kelly docuseries released in 2019 were 2 major reasons why she says she wrote this book. And keep in mind, Roshona Landfair back then denied being the young girl on the tape. And because of that, Kelly was not convicted back in 2008 when he first stood trial on child pornography charges. Here's a clip of my interview that we shared on social media. Take a listen.
Hey, listen, man. R. Kelly made good music, but he was sick. Yeah, he was sick, man. He had a fetish for little girls. He made good music, but he was sick. Yeah, man. And he continued to do the same thing. I don't understand that he really thought that he was going to do this forever. He got away with it this time, but he kept doing the same exact thing and thought that he was going to continue to get away with it. And they nailed him to the cross. They nailed him to the cross. Prime example of getting addicted to something that ain't right, and then you keep going and don't know how to stop. Oh yeah, they stuck it to him.
January 3rd, 2019, Surviving R. Kelly airs. Mm-hmm. Did you see all 6? It's a 6-part series. Did you see all of it?
I don't know if I saw all of it, but I saw enough.
And you thought?
That was the spirit of conviction came over me during that moment.
And when you say the spirit of conviction, what do you mean by that?
Somehow I felt responsible that he was able to hurt so many more people. During the time, I thought maybe these were just sexual fetishes that he had with me. Maybe this was just abuse I was going through. But when I saw that his behavior had gotten so much worse, and he was allowed to hurt so many people because I lied, that did not sit well with me as an adult, as a woman.
In March of that same year, Gayle King sat down with him and the 2 women he was in a relationship with at the time. Did you happen to see that?
I did.
I didn't do this stuff. This is not me, y'all. I'm fighting for my life. Y'all killing me with this. I gave y'all 30 years of my career.
Robert.
30 years of my career.
Well, first I thought it was...
Hey, listen. When you look at R. Kelly at that moment, that was the moment that he knew it was over. Because his actions that he displayed, he knew that it was nothing he was going to be able to do about it. He got through it the first time. He kept going. And for whatever reason, they targeted him at that moment. He knew that it wasn't no chance of coming back from that. You can, hear how his tone was on that. That was the cry out like it's over.
It's very Broadway of him to act like that. That was very normal for him to have that type of response. And when I heard those girls speak, I knew exactly who was talking through them. I knew exactly what mission they had, the convincing, the firmness, everything that I had been trained and groomed to do. I read right in between that. And in that moment, I did not feel sorry for him at all. I felt like, you still don't get it.
In her book, Who's Watching Shorty, she says that her aunt, R&B singer Sparkle, was someone who told her at one point to sit on R. Kelly's lap at around 12 years old and ask Kelly if he would be her godfather. Now, we reached out to Sparkle, who said she is relieved that Roshana is on her healing journey, but Sparkle also said this: any suggestion that I groomed, facilitated, or enabled harm to my niece is untrue and deeply painful.
Hey, listen, if you told your niece to sit on that man's lap, you definitely had part in it.
For R. Kelly, who is currently serving sentences for 2 federal convictions, an attorney representing him told us they could not comment on specific allegations in the book without reading it. And the attorney added that Kelly wishes Roshana success and peace at all levels. There is so much in this book. And I think, even when I sat down with him, we're going to post an extended clip on YouTube later today. But it's this idea that you were the person we were all sort of looking for come 2017, 18, when all these allegations start again. And that docuseries was so pivotal. I remember being in this newsroom and saying, hey guys, there's a documentary coming out on Lifetime. And it was like, okay. And then the numbers spoke. 2 million, or I think it was like 1.2 million people tuned in, which was a big deal for Lifetime. And I think you saw the engagement online. This is a time sort of post the Me Too era, if you will, where people felt more comfortable speaking their truth, and the shame wasn't there in the same way. Because as we were talking, as this clip was running, there's a certain level of acceptance historically. I always go back to history. I'm a study of history, and you have young women who have been with older men, and sometimes it's not a big deal. But in this case, when you look at the power dynamic and you look at the number of people who said that they also were abused by R. Kelly, there's something to be said, and this is her time now to share her story.
I think one of the things that struck me is when she says that she watched that docuseries, and then she began to wonder if she began to think about all the other young women who is alleged that R. Kelly sexually abused, and how it made her wonder and worry that maybe she was a catalyst in some way for that by not coming forward back in 2001.
That's right, because I mean, the video is leaked. What also is very interesting, Vlad and Chanel, is that he apparently tells Roshana, let's just tell your parents that we're in love. I know this sounds crazy. She writes about it in the book, and apparently, according to her, arranged a hotel meeting. And the father, who is since deceased, Roshana's father, who died in 2021, he was furious and said, you're sick, you need help. And this is someone who, again, worked with R. Kelly as a guitarist. So you have all of these sort of
So this man worked with R. Kelly as a guitarist. You've been around him. You knew what type of man he was. And you let your daughter hang out with him? That say a lot.
Narratives.
And what you said on CBS Mornings is what she told you, because as I watched that little section, I thought I have a daughter, and I could not imagine I would want to kill this person. And she said, I had to convince my father not to go to the authorities. And I did that by telling him I might kill myself. I did that by saying all sorts of terrible things, which if your daughter or somebody you love says they're going to take their own life if you do something, now you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. Should you go to the authorities, report this individual, or...
But that trauma was happening, she says, at a very young age. And so that kind of behavior makes sense because it's not a sensible thing to have to go through.
I was going to say, I challenge anyone at 12, 13, 14, such a vulnerable place in anyone's life, to be wooed by this megastar and not allow that to kind of continue on in your 20s, and in her case, even into her 30s.
Help.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy, man. Yeah. And Kelly feeling that, I'm sure he think about all the sick shit he was doing daily. I know he think about the parents that was involved and all of that shit running through his head. That's one thing about sitting in jail. When you sit in jail for something, whatever you there for, you gonna think about that. You gonna think about it.